Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new Apex irons from Callaway.
The top 75 players on the Korn Ferry Tour standings qualified for the championship, and after this event, it is the top 30 on the standings who will earn PGA Tour memberships for 2025. Remember, the top 17 have already secured their cards, so there really are only 13 more up for grabs this weekend in Indiana, so the pressure is high. So for more, we welcome in James Nitties to Golf Central, who will be part of this week's call. James, huge week for all the guys in this field. Everybody is going to be wanting to win, but let's start with some of the players near that top 30 cut line. That is where the pressure is. Let's start with the guy currently in 30th, Sam Bennett. We know he won the 2022 US Amateur, then he contended at the Masters the year later. What's his journey been like since?
It's been a rocky one when it comes to the Korn Ferry Tour season, but like you said, a stellar college player, burst onto the scene when we saw him at the Masters after being in the top three through 2 rounds, finished tied for 16th. He's actually played in 4 majors and never missed a cut. Hasn't missed even many cuts on the PGA Tour when he got his sponsors invitationals last season. So he knows that he deserves to be there with as far as how good he plays on and off the golf course. And it's frustrating when you get onto the Korn Ferry Tour and you play well and you're still on the bubble to go back to the PGA Tour. He hasn't had a victory this year, but he's had a couple top threes. He's played consistently. I think he's missed maybe 3-4 cuts for the season. And since the start of August, he was at around about 22 on the points list, and he's slightly kind of fell to this position now 6 events later. But I think it's a good week for him. It's a big boy golf course. It translates well for his game. There's going to be a lot of a lot of the players don't know what they're going to have to shoot to play well here because they've never played this event before. So it's going to be an interesting week for Sam Bennett, but I think with his mentality, the way he thinks and the way he gets it done under pressure, a week like this at this golf course, I think he's going to be one of the guys that stays inside the top 30.
And he has such a remarkable story as well, and he really was such a highlight of that 2023 Masters. So we've got to know him a little bit in his young career. One player who fans may not be so familiar with, that is South Africa's Aldrich Potgieter. Now, he had a remarkable amateur career. He's already won earlier this year on the Korn Ferry Tour, currently 27th in the standings. He is ridiculously good, James, for 20 years of age. For those who haven't really seen him play yet, give us a sense of his game.
So, look, I like to call him the South African superstar because he's biasly one of my favourite players to watch. He passes the eye test. He's the longest player on the Korn Ferry Tour, averages around about 340 off the tee, 190 miles per hour ball speed. But like you said, he won the AM Championship as a 17-year-old. That got him into the US Open at LACC, where he made the cut. That got him an exemption to second stage of PGA Tour Q School. Now, he won that second stage, and a new rule that just came in last season, if you win second stage, you get guaranteed 8 starts on the Korn Ferry Tour the next season. So he goes from winning the AM Champ at 17, comes all the way, gets his card on Korn Ferry Tour and he wins the second event as a 19-year-old, one of the youngest players the youngest player to ever win in a Korn Ferry Tour event. And then a couple of weeks later goes out, shoots 59. So me, selfishly, as on the broadcast, I didn't think we were ever going to see him because he was going to win 3 times and get the promotion and go to the PGA Tour after that first victory. And unfortunately, since then, he's had 2 top 10s and missed 3 out of the last 4 cuts. So he came out outspokenly saying how he's looking forward to going to the PGA Tour. He has high hopes of being top 10 in the world, winning majors. And then since then, he's kind of lost a little bit of that confidence. But, you watch him play and think, how is this kid doesn't have the most confidence in the world? I don't know, because he's so good from top to bottom, tee to green. But it's just when you think you've got the PGA Tour card sewn up and you have a full season, just like Akshay Bhatia, he won the first event a couple seasons ago on the Korn Ferry Tour and slid out of the top 30 at the very last event because he was kind of thinking of his dreams coming true. So as a young kid, I think it's a big week for him. I think the PGA Tour is suited more to his game. So if he can just get there, get over the hump of, staying inside that top 30 this week, I think he'll do some special things on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, he's got such a bright future, and he's a perfect example of why this week is just must-see viewing on the Korn Ferry Tour. So there's some of the bubble boys. What about some of the players throughout the season? The rookies that have already earned their card or are likely to earn it this week. Who do you think could come to the PGA Tour and perhaps relatively have quick success?
Look, it's easy to just grab the low-hanging fruit and say the top 5 on the Korn Ferry Tour points list currently, 4 of them are going to be rookies, and they're all fantastic. Frankie Sappin, the third, that just won the last event on the Korn Ferry Tour, the Nationwide Children's Hospital Open. He didn't even have his best stuff in the last round. I think he hit maybe 3 of the last 8 greens in regulation, but he made so many clutch putts, so many great up and downs over and over, and still won his first Korn Ferry Tour at one of the highest levels. And he looked like he was just sitting on the back porch drinking a latte with his friends. He did it in such a comfortable atmosphere when most players would be, crumbling and failing to step up. That I think when he gets to the PGA Tour, he's just going to have those kind of sporadic weeks where he finds himself around the lead and makes a really clutch putt. You've got Tim Vitting, won 2 times early mid-season, hits it a long way. Great iron player, good long iron player. He also set one of the Korn Ferry Tour records when he won minus 31 under par. Actually, Frankie Sappin finished 4th that week after shooting 58 in the first round. He's an exciting player. And then you can't go past Matt McCarty, a guy that is playing Sanderson Farms this week because he got the 3-win promotion from the Korn Ferry Tour, and he's sewn up the #1 position by so far that no one can catch him. So he was able to go and do that this week. He's just incredible. Just his maturity. He could have won 4 times. He got it done on very different golf courses, hard to easy. And it was almost like after the first 2 victories and he was going to be Class Tour bound, that he started preparing for the PGA Tour. He wanted to put on a little bit more weight, hit it further. So he just gets the game of golf. He's a smart kid for his age, and I think he's going to be not only impressive next year on the PGA Tour, I think he could ruffle some feathers this week at the Sanderson Farms.
Yeah, we're going to hear from McCarty in just a second on the show. Just finally, James, before you go, let's talk a little bit about the course this week at French Lick. How could this be one of the toughest closing stretches, outside of all the pressure that the players are going to see all season?
Yes, it's going to be volatile this week. Just a quick stat that every guy that wasn't inside the top 23 last season at the Tour Championships, only 1 stayed inside that number. So it means that 5 guys moved out, and if you put them on a course like this, where it's one of the hardest on the Korn Ferry Tour, it's one of the hardest in the world. It can stretch out to 8,100 yards. The course record from the tips is -1. They will play these guys at around 74 to 7,600. The weather is going to be perfect. But some of the tightest fairways I've ever seen, some of the smallest greens I've ever seen, and a lot of the players I talk to, like I said before, they have no clue how it's going to present itself because some of them have never seen it before. And it's a Pete Dye special. It's going to be fantastic for us on TV because it's going to be an entertaining watch. But man, it's going to be some pressure-packed situations come that closing 3 holes.
Yeah, some dreams are going to be made true this weekend, but also some dreams are going to be crushed. It is going to be fascinating to watch, James. Looking forward to hearing you on the call, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Anna. It's going to be a fun week.